Afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi, my name's Grant, and today we're here really celebrating and honoring such an incredible man. An incredible son to Steve, father to Lauren, and to Scott, and a wonderful husband for Cheryl. I think, all of us know we appreciate that.
Generosity, and stories he so loved sharing with us. Though he is no longer with us, Lord, we now lift Tony's family, loved ones, colleagues, friends, or his wife Cheryl, his children Scott and Lauren, Scott's wife Elle, present here with us today. Lord, we ask that you surround and embrace them all with your love. May they find reassurance in your presence. May they know that with you on their side, they will never need to walk this journey alone. All of this in the mighty and precious.
Singleton. They are a wonderful inspiration to all of us. They are a wonderful inspiration to all of us. Tony was a man with incredible humor. He had a gift of making him. His family was the center of his world. His dad, who we call Uncle Steve, his wife Cheryl, his son Scott, Lauren, and if they were important family matters, personal matters, business matters, it didn't matter. To Tony, it mattered. And he would always check in and see how things are going. He'd support you and look after you online. Tony had many passions. On Monday, I was walking with Cheryl, and I said, obviously, you were his first love. The kids the second. His dad also. But between golf and soccer, which one would he choose? And Cheryl said, definitely soccer, and sometimes even before us. So I'm wondering if he's up there negotiating with God magic while he's up there. He was definitely a devoted Liverpool supporter, never missing a chance to cheer on his team. He was also an excellent golfer, and anyone who played alongside him knew that the game was as much about friendship and laughs as it was about his skill. A friend of ours, Garth, sent a message today to say a competitive golfer with a wicked smile in his eyes. And that's how Tony was. He was going to thrash you if he could. Most times he thrashed us. In 2005, Tony left Sage and took with him some of his team to join Turnberry. And through today, I witnessed Tony going through some tough times during his 20 years at Turnberry. And he always managed to courageously overcome these birthday. And it was an incredible lunch, incredible day. And it was so good to have Tony with us. All of the friends that were around, his warmth, his openness, drew people in, and his humor kept them close. Paolo said to me today we feel his absence. It is hard to imagine life without his laughter, his stories, and his companionship. But as we grieve, we also celebrate the legacy he leaves behind, a legacy of love, resiliency, and joy. We give and the friendships we nurture. May we carry forward his
Thank you, Grant. I'm going to do my very best to get through this. If you can count your true friends on one hand, you're very blessed. Dad clearly had many hands. And as you would have said while I was writing this, more hands means more hands to hold cold beer. Dad was a Lancashire boy. He attended Ansdale in Lytham St Anne's and joined the YMCA, where he first kicked a ball and learned what it meant to belong somewhere. He carried that with him to Cape Town, Plumstead High School, UCT, and on the pitch, Western Province, Cape Town City, Tramway, and Wanderers in Johannesburg. By all accounts, a velvet left foot. I wish I'd seen more of it. He brought that same talent to the golf course. Krugersdorp, Royal Johannesburg, and finally Zimbiti. Different game, same dad. Dad's working life was something to behold. MBS, Standard Bank, Sage, Turnberry. Decades of showing up, doing the right thing. Dad was a natural-born leader and a serial mentor who changed many lives. He had many sayings, but my favorite was always, the right people are never expensive. I later learned that the expensive part didn't always mean money, but rather time and attention and care. Dad always invested heavily in people and was so generous with his time. He was loved for all who knew him and worked with him. But what really tells you who Dad was is a group of people who gathered around him. Too many to mention, but a few worth noting. The Berries, the Slammers, the South Broom Classic, the Molly's Brigade, the Royal Johannesburg Saturday School, the Standard Team, Verners, Ziggies, Waxes, Tassos, the Insurance Mates, the Tramway Group, the Royal Liverpool Group, the Super Brew Round the World Buddies, Friends Forever, Paddle Group, UK Golf Team, and Buds Playing Golf. Each one a different tribe, each one proof of the same thing, that people wanted to be around Dad. That once you were in his orbit, you stayed. And here's the thing about Dad. What you saw was what you got, every single time. There was no version of Dad that was kept hidden. No different gear for different rooms. The man at the clubhouse was the same man at the golf course, the same man at the school gate, the same man at the office, and the same man at home. The same man on the football pitch and the same man on the golf course. Completely, stubbornly wonderful himself. And I think that's exactly why people collected around him. You always knew where you stood with Dad. You always knew what you were getting. And what you were getting was warmth, humor, and someone who genuinely felt happy to be in your presence. He remembered people, not in a vague way, the details, birthdays, milestones, and moments that mattered. Every time without fail. In an age where it's easy to forget, Dad never did. He always saw the very best in people. And then there's the image I keep coming back to. Dad at the clubhouse, cold beer in hand, completely his element. Mum and Dad shared one of those apps that let you know where each other was, like little dots on a map. And one particular evening, Dad was at the golf club. Mum called, then called again, then called again. Eventually said, I think it's time you come home. Dad, of course, thought, one more chat, one more cheers, until the phone rang again. Mum, watching the app now on his phone, on her phone, saw his little feet running to the golf cart to get home. They both laughed once Dad got home. That was their rhythm. That was their home. Because if Dad had one true north in his life, it was Mum. He was her biggest fan, thought the world of her in every room, in every situation. You could see it. The way he looked at her, the way he spoke about her, they had the very best kind of marriage, a true life partnership. Mum used to joke that if she went first, her friends would be queuing up to date Dad. But there was never any question where his heart was. It was with her always. And Lauren, his little princess. If Mum was Dad's heart, Lauren was his joy. Those enduring days at Chinta Park watching her horse ride, Dad standing at the fence with a bacon butty, probably wondering how on earth he got there. But there every single chance he could be, because Lauren was there. That's who he was as a father. The F1 Sundays together, their own little world. And those trips to Cape Town, Dad loved them. Sitting with Lauren, sharing a drink and a laugh, completely in his element. Because Lauren has a sense of humor that connected with Dad. Her joy, her warmth, her life of the party presence. He didn't just love it, he admired it. He saw in something in her that lit him up. Now, Lauren, I want you to know something. When you laugh, really laugh, I can hear Dad. That joy didn't come from nowhere, it came from him. And through you, he keeps giving it. Excuse me. He admired your attention to detail, your zest for life, everything you are. Lauren, Dad loved you very much and was so incredibly proud of you in every way, always. And Elle, who Dad loved dearly. There was a special relationship. He had a way with her that was completely his own. Warm, attentive, and never short of a quiet word when one was needed. Elle arrived once with her skirt on back to front. And without any fuss, Dad simply caught her eye and very gently let her know. No drama, no embarrassment, just Dad looking out for her in the way he looked out for everyone. And if the occasion called for it, and in Dad's words, most occasions did, there'd be a glass of Rupert Rothschild involved. That wine became their thing, a shared pleasure, a mark of a good evening, a reason to sit a little longer and enjoy company. Ali loved you, and you loved him back in exactly the way he deserved. Dad came from good stock. His mum, Granny, whom he loved, and his dad, Granddad, 94 years old, in Lytham right now, watching this online. Granddad loves you so very much, and you love him in a way only a father and son truly understood. Yours was a wonderful relationship, and he cherished it every single day. And of course, Liverpool mad. We knew exactly where that came from. Grandad, we are thinking of you today more than words can say, and we hope that despite the miles, you can feel just how many people are in the room today celebrating the remarkable man you raised. And then there was Mark, his younger brother, the naughty one, the life of the party. The one who could walk in any room and immediately make it twice as loud and 3 times as fun. Dad missed Mark deeply. And as I have absolutely no doubt right now, the two of them are together having a few drinks. For me, Dad was my best mate. Someone I shared often daily calls with. About sport, about life, about work. He was the first call I would make on my walk to the train station. He was my sounding board. His approach to every problem was consistent, thoughtful, and quite brilliant. I will forever cherish my lifelong relationship with Dad, and I am forever changed for not having him here. Before I close, I want to acknowledge the family and friends who are with us today in the room and across the world. From the UK to Cape Town, from Johannesburg to Australia, from Ballito to Ireland. Dad touched lives everywhere he went and everywhere he was known. The messages, the calls, the love that has been shared has been overwhelming. And every single one of them a testament to the man we are here to celebrate today. He was loved wildly, deeply, and without question. Dad is going to be missed in a way that's simply beyond words. The calls won't come, The messages won't arrive. The glass won't be raised. The laugh that won't fill the room. There will be days when the world feels a little quieter, a little less warm, and we'll know exactly why. But it is here that I choose to believe a little piece of beauty has not left the world. It simply moved somewhere else. Somewhere with a decent golf course, a cold beer, a Liverpool match, and Mark already getting another beer at the bar. Dad, you're my best mate, my signing board, my first call. I am forever changed for having had you, and forever changed for losing you. I will love you and miss you every single day, but mostly, I will try to be a little more like you. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Everybody, there is wine on the table, and there's also white wine in the ice box things. Please help yourself. I mean, it's Tony. Tony would love you to have a drink in your hand. Vincent, if you could come up and share. Is Vincent around? Have I got the right name? Yeah? Here you go.
Thank you very much. Cheryl Neelu extends her very deep and heartfelt condolences. She lost her brother this morning, and the funeral's right now, so that's the only reason she's not here. We're flying down to be here in the second. No, Kevin. This is not a thesis on Tony's life, Kevin. It's just big writing so I can read. You know, my kid said, Dad, you've got to show Cheryl and family, and expressed to all of them just how much Uncle Tony meant to us and means to us. So here I am. You know, a wake for Tony is really surreal. If we were invited to a roast of Tony, that would be more in keeping with who Tony really is. An epitome of the joy of life, of living, of strength, of happiness, and purpose. But today is what it is. It's a wake, I'm afraid. And I ask for your indulgence, please, as this note is going to be upfront and personal to Tony and his family. A little contemplative, I apologize. We'll endeavor to honor Tony for a bit now and celebrate his lovely life of fun and laughter over drinks later. To the Singletons, we share your immeasurable sadness, Cheryl, Lauren, Scott, L., and Tony's dad, Steve. To us friends of Tony, we will have to learn to live without Tony in our lives going forward. This time is also significant. In a week's time, we would be spending a week with Tony at the South Broom Classic. We've done this for years. Tony and us shared a home together for a week, 24/7. That home was filled to the rafters with fun, endless laughter, because Tony always found the perfect repartee in every conversation, and saw the funny side of everything that happened around him. He was just amazing. Cheryl, as you know, and this echoes what everybody understands fully, and Scott has just alluded to it again, you were central to Tony's life. He cared about you with a passion. You were his singular joy, and he was deeply respectful of your care and thoughts. His world revolved around you, Cheryl. And because his world revolved around you, your world revolved around us. Because Tony would recount, your quirky comments and remarks all the time. Like when you got a pellet gun to murder the Adidas because they were stealing your fish. And then the Tony, where are you? Are you going to leave home dressed like this? And you'd rearrange his wardrobe to his amusement. And Scott, when your dad mentioned you, his huge chest would puff up even further to express his pride and joy. He was in quiet awe of your accomplishments, and he was very proud to be your dad. And as you alluded to, what can we say of his lady love, Lauren? Tony's recounts of your interactions with him and your life experiences was always hilarious, because your father, like your brother had just suggested, was similar to you. Tony's love and care for you was boundless, Lauren. And I just thought that we would reiterate that. Steve, back there in London, we share in your grief. It is not normal for a dad to attend the wake of his son. So we understand the pain, and we are with you during this time. Tony always referred to you. I'd arrive on the golf course and say, "How's it, Tony?" And Tony would say, "Not good, Vince. Just spent an hour on the phone with my dad. That friggin' Liverpool, I hope those dickheads would play." All in the audience, simply irrepressible. He was just amazing. Each of us can share our offline real-life experiences with Tony, which will be of legendary proportions, perhaps later. Tony is very close to our family. I will share confidence. Fittingly, David, who is watching now, lives in the Netherlands. He's online. Announced on Friday that his wife Tessa is expecting a baby, our first grandchild. Wedding celebrations in Turkey, whenever we went, in Cape Town, wherever, Dad asked Uncle Tony and Cheryl to come along. He couldn't join us because he couldn't travel, so he sent a note with Kevin, Glenn, and our guys. Regrettably, this will no longer be possible. And here's to you, Tony, as you charm the angels in heaven with your love and positive energy. We down here also know that we will never walk alone. It's Evan's gain, and our loss, I'm afraid. We want to thank you, dear Singletons, for sharing Tony with all of us. His memory will live with us forever. God bless you all.
What we have next is from Clive Harper and Tony's old team at Sage. And I might need help through this one, but It starts with a tribute to Tony, and it says, "Tony, what a man." Those 4 simple words capture so much of how we all feel today. Some people pass through our lives, and then there are those rare people who leave a permanent mark on our hearts. Tony was one of those people. His passing has left an emptiness that words can hardly describe. We're still trying to come to terms with the fact that that smiling face we expected to see at our next Sage Life gathering will not be there. When people speak about Tony, the same qualities keep coming up. He was always smiling, always friendly, always approachable, always fair, and always ready with that unmistakable sparkle in his eye that told you something funny was about to happen. He had an extraordinary gift. He made people feel important. Whether you had known him for 30 years or 30 minutes, he gave you his full attention. He listened, he cared, he encouraged, he made you believe you mattered. Andrew summed him up beautifully. I remember him as forever smiling gentleman who was always ready to help and assist us. He was always a ray of sunshine. He was a devoted family man, a perfect gentleman, a reliable colleague, and a sincere friend. That is exactly how so many of us will remember him. Tony possessed something that cannot be taught. He led with kindness. As Graham Withers reminded us, despite Tony's enormous business knowledge and experience, he never acted like the boss. He was the leader, the motivator, the encourager, and perhaps most importantly, the carer. Graham shared the last message Tony sent him only 3 months ago. Tony's response: "Thanks, Graham. True to form, I see you have a current project to help your fellow residents. Always a great strength of yours. Enjoy. But remember to focus on your and Heather's well-being." Even in that simple message, Tony wasn't talking about himself. He was thinking about someone else. That was Tony. Always encouraging, always caring, always putting people first. Professionally, Tony commanded enormous respect. Personally, he earned something even greater, our affection. He led without ego. He corrected without humiliating. He encouraged without expecting recognition. He celebrated the successes of others as though they were his own. He had principles that never wavered, yet he never wore them like a badge. He lived them. Of course, we cannot speak about Tony without speaking about his wonderful sense of humor. He had a wicked wit that could reduce an entire room to tears of laughter. Sorry. Howard reminded us of one unforgettable management meeting. Tony's phone rang. It was Jansen. I presume he was a boss man. The meeting continued while Tony spoke quietly on the phone. As the conversation ended, Tony cheerfully said, "Miss you too, darling," and calmly put his phone down. The whole room froze. Everyone looked at each other in complete disbelief. Only moments later did we realize that Jansen had already disconnected from the call and that Tony had simply been speaking to a disconnected phone. The room erupted. The order took a long time to restore. That was Tony, always finding a way to make people laugh. Peter recalled another story that perfectly captures Tony's warmth. While helping with the National Mutual integration in Cape Town, Peter had nowhere to wash his car. Tony didn't hesitate. He invited Peter to his own house to use his hosepipe. As Peter meticulously cleaned every part of the vehicle, including the wheels, with a toothbrush, Tony's young son, Scott, rushed inside shouting, "Daddy, Daddy, a man is washing his car wheels with a toothbrush in our garden." Tony loved telling that story for years afterwards, not because it embarrassed Peter, because it made everyone smile. Rodney reminded us of a memorable Sage Bermuda getaway in Botswana. They crossed borders together, they explored together, they paddled mokoros on the Chobe River. They laughed around campfires beneath the African sky. Then came the unforgettable moment when Cheryl's shoe heel broke while they were walking towards a giant baobab tree. Without hesitation, Tony simply lifted Cheryl onto his back and carried her all the way back to their transport. The laughter echoed throughout the bush. That image says everything. A devoted husband, a gentleman, someone who simply did what needed to be done, with love and without fuss. Rodney said something that perhaps describes Tony better than anything else. Tony made everyone feel comfortable in his presence and made people feel that they mattered in his life. What a beautiful legacy. For those of us privileged to serve alongside Tony on the Sage Life management team, we witness this every day. He never sought the spotlight. He never needed recognition. His satisfaction came from seeing others succeed. He built people. He encouraged ideas. He celebrated achievements. He believed in us, often before we believed in ourselves. His humor lightened difficult days. His wisdom guided challenging decisions. His integrity gave us confidence. His friendship enriched our lives. Tony leaves behind Cheryl, Scott, Lauren and his family, and those who love him most. And we are all better people because we had the privilege of knowing him. Tony, what a man, from the Sage and Clive team. So we've come to the end, and I'm sure there's people who might want to come up and say something. Is there anybody who wants to? Henry? Sure.
Wow, okay. Very different view when you stand up here and look down on everybody. And I think as we were sitting here today and you reflect and remember on all the stories you've heard and remembering even your own personal stories of your interactions with Tony. And if there was one person who would know exactly what to say in a time like this, it would be Tony. And yes, it would include a joke, it would include a story, and there would definitely be beer involved. When I was thinking about how we deal with this, and we've heard it said a few times, I'm like, there aren't words that can express and can share. Somebody mentioned to me last week something that I wanted to share with you here, because to me it helps bring something that you can carry forward with you about Tony, who he is, what he was, the inspiration, the mentor, the friend, the husband, the father, the son. It's a Hebrew saying. The saying is, and I might be pronouncing this wrong, but I'm going to try my best here, Zekron Levrachka. The words are, may his memories always be a blessing. It's not just what we remember about Tony in the past, but it's what he means for all of us going forward. Carrying forward the memory of his life, being that mentor, because that inspiration of what a friend really means, what being a good father really means, what being a good son really means. Tony shared that with each one of you. And I think we honor him by carrying that forward. Heard it said today, when you spoke with Tony, he made you feel like you were the most important thing in the world because he gave you all his time. He wasn't just making you feel that way. You were the most important thing to him at that moment. And that's what he shared with you. So in his memories, and we think of him as the gentleman, the gentleman, the friend. May his memory always be a blessing. And may that set the example that each of us can continue to carry going forward. And as he inspires us, and we know we never walk alone because each one of us carries Tony with us. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? I'm sure you can have words with Cheryl and family. For the golfers amongst us that play at Simbiti, thankfully Simbiti allowed us to put a bench on the 10th. So we appreciate that. It's dedicated to Tony. We'll bless it when we take off on the 10th and safely return on the 18th. The 18th being significant because the 19th right next door where Tony spent a lot of time. So yeah, it's a blessing to be able to do that. It's a blessing to think of you when we play our golf and celebrate Tony's life. It'll be a constant reminder. Also helps us to play better. Scott, that was a lucky birdie the other day. But yeah, so there's food and drinks. Please join us. Please have a drink. And I think on behalf of the family, thank you so much for coming today. It really reflects the love and the person who Tony was. So we really appreciate it, and thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I messed up. I always forget something. So there's a shirt here that Ramona bought that we're going to put as a tribute to the family, and we'd appreciate it if you sign it, put whatever on. What was the instruction, Ramona? Don't write on the numbers. Okay, and he's Italian mafia, so don't do it. There's a magazine in here to help, because it's quite hard to actually write on the cloth, but please feel welcome to do this. We're going to put it in a perspex frame on each side that family can put somewhere special and just remember. And with that, please, thank you for coming. The bar's around the corner, by the way.